Before we start today's video, who was the Browns head coach when you first became a fan? There's unfortunately a long list of Browns quarterbacks and head coaches, but who was the head coach when you first became a fan? Whether it was the coach when you were born, when your favorite player got drafted to the Browns, when you decided to start watching the Browns, let me know in the comment section below. What's going on, everyone? Welcome on into the Cleveland Browns Report. Coming up on today's show, I want to talk about some of the chatter surrounding the Browns and adding a potential wide receiver. I've seen this position come up a couple of times as some suggested offseason moves. And I'm not going to say when there's smoke, there's fire for this one exactly, but there is some level of chatter that I thought we could discuss on today's show. So let's start with a former day 2 draft pick, Lynn Bowden Jr., because Pro Football Network came out with an article where they suggested one player each team should sign. And for the Browns, it was the former Kentucky Wildcat. He was drafted by the Raiders. He was traded before the season even started to the Dolphins, which is very strange. Now, he is an Ohio man. He's from Warren, Ohio, so not far from Youngstown or from Cleveland, and went to high school at Warren G. Harding, I believe, off the top of my head. But went to play in Kentucky, and then in the NFL, well, at Kentucky, he was kind of a utility, like wide receiver running back, almost like a poor man's Percy Harvin at Florida. But Lynn Bowden in his career, he's hopped around a little bit. He was drafted by the Raiders, like I said. Then he went over to the Dolphins, then went to the Patriots, then to the Saints last year. He spent some time on different practice squads, but also made a handful of regular season appearances as well with these teams. But Lorenzo Reyna from Pro Football Network had this to say on the signing potential. The Cleveland Browns have a pending contract situation with Amari Cooper. They also have former first-rounder Jerry Jeudy on board via trade. Jeudy and Cooper, though, look more like inside/possession targets for Deshaun Watson. The Youngstown, Ohio native, Bowden can provide a non-expensive, versatile deep threat for Cleveland. Now, there's some truth and there's some not-so-truth to what Lorenzo just wrote. Amari Cooper is not strictly an inside possession receiver. Do people not forget the game he had against the Houston Texans when he put up over 200 yards and 2 touchdowns? How about the Tennessee Titans game when the referee erroneously called him out of bounds on the sideline? I think that's a little bit of a shallow take for Amari Cooper. I can see that for Jerry Jeudy, but I do agree with Lorenzo that when you look at this depth chart, they don't have that Jakeem Grant or Marquise Goodwin deep threat, field stretching speed type of player. And that spot that Andrew Berry has addressed for a few straight off seasons. Now, unfortunately, it hasn't really worked out because of injuries. Like, we never got to see Jakeem Grant play for the Browns outside of preseason. And Marquise Goodwin missed a good chunk of the offseason last year with blood clots, and that kind of put him maybe behind a little bit with Deshaun Watson. And then it never really caught on very much last year at all. So maybe Andrew Berry decides, all right, this offseason, my true speed demon will be Lynn Bowden Jr., who in his career, 39 grabs, 294 yards. He's been used a couple of times as a rusher. He did that a little bit, more in the NFL in college. More in college, I should say, than the NFL at being a rusher for a team. But there's potential special teams value for Lynn Bowden Jr. Lynn Bowden Jr. special teams last season, he was a kick returner and a punt returner at times for the New Orleans Saints. So it wouldn't be his first time lining up back there. Plus, with the new kickoff rules, expect the unexpected. And if the Browns feel like, listen, Lynn Bowden may not have been a really good fit under the last special teams protocol, but under the new one, where you're kind of looking for more of a running back than like a track star, because the kickoff team is not running down the field like a train. They're starting from zero at the receiving team's 40-yard line. It's going to be more of your conventional finding a hole in the blocking up front and jumping through that. And that could be something Bowden excels in. So at the end of the day, we know Andrew Berry loves his former highly drafted players. He's always looking to give guys a second or third chance if he feels like there's a lot of skill and potential that just needs some fine-tuning. So I wouldn't be shell-shocked if this signing happens. I don't think Amari Cooper's contract situation is going to be a serious factor into We need Lynn Bowden Jr. Guys, if something goes wrong with this Cooper contract situation, adding Lynn Bowden Jr. will not do anything to try and ease that blow. So if it's an addition, it's for something completely unrelated to the Amari Cooper contract issue. Now, before we look at the next wide receiver training camp, guys, it's 3 weeks away. So if you are looking for a channel that's going to give you daily updates throughout training camp, hit that sub button down below. Lock yourself in for the best Browns YouTube coverage out there that is completely free. Next player I want to talk about here, John Metchie, because there was a suggestion by Cleveland.com as a target for the Browns only if the Houston Texans release him. So unlike Lynn Bowden Jr., John Metchie is not a free agent. But there is some chatter that maybe the Texans could end up moving on from him after trading for Stephon Diggs, Nico Collins, Tank Dell breakout years in 2023. Now you're not really sure where the former second-round draft pick fits in. Now, unfortunately, John Metchie missed his entire rookie season due to leukemia. Very happy to see him back on the field last year and get excellent care from the Texans and make what I believe to be a full recovery. But, it's awful to see someone start their NFL career or just any career off, for that matter, with something horrendous like leukemia. But John Metchie in 2023, in his real rookie season, since he missed his entire, technical rookie season, 30 targets, 16 grabs, 158 yards. And like I was saying, the Texans wide receiver room, it's kind of crowded. Like, they added Stephon Diggs. They've got Nico Collins and Tank Dell. Then there's Noah Brown, who they like a lot. Robert Woods is a veteran. I don't think they would prefer Woods long-term over John Metchie, who, by the way, they traded up for with the Cleveland Browns to get him in the second round. Like, it was Martin Emerson for John Metchie, and then the Browns got Perrion Winfrey and Cade York too. So that was the trade that went down in 2022. Ultimately, though, I don't think you should get your hopes up too much for the former Alabama wide receiver. I think Houston's going to hold on to John Metchie. Yes, he right now is kind of buried on the depth chart, but he just wrapped up his first season essentially in the NFL. They've got some older receivers in Robert Woods that I just don't think they view as more of a long-term piece over someone like John Metchie, who's a precision route runner. Stephon Diggs has 1 year on his contract, so there's no guarantee he'll be here beyond 2023. I think it would be wise for Houston to hold on to John Metchie, and I don't think they're going to be dumbos and move on from him after really just one season because they've got a lot of other really good wideouts. It would be in their best interest to hold on to the guy they traded up to get in round 2 and not pull the plug on. No, that was a bad one. Not move on from him after one season in the NFL. Overall, though, when it comes to Amari Cooper, I've got zero concern. I feel really bad about the pull the plug thing. That was just a bad analogy. Zero concern over Amari Cooper's contract. This is not going to be a factor into the Browns going out to get John Metchie or Lynn Bowden. If they do end up with one of those two players, it's because they simply view a very talented player on the market that Andrew Berry loves to go after. He loves to bring in some young, highly drafted players. We've seen that over and over again, whether it's in free agency or trade. That's just something that Andrew Berry targets. So I don't look at these wide receiver additions, suggestions or whatever as a negative for the Amari Cooper contract talks. No, let's not go all the way there yet. Now, off the wall question related to the Browns wide receivers. Who do you think will have more yards this year? Jerry Jeudy or Elijah Moore? I know our viewer is typing 3 for Jerry Jeudy, but let me know who you think will have more yards this season. Oh, nearly a goal for Germany. Let me know in the comment section below, Jeudy or Moore. Okay, let's pick a card. Which card do you want to go with, Mr. Reed?
Queen of Hearts.
Queen of Hearts?
Yes.
I'm going to go with the... I'll go with 3 for has-been.
Okay.
I'll go 3 of Hearts.
I like it.
You said Queen of Hearts?
Queen of Hearts.
Yeah, I'll do 3 of Hearts.
All right.
All right, we ready? One last
to
cut.
me again.
For good
Come on.
measure. No, but I was kind of close. 5 of Hearts.
See,
We're both
you were
on the
close
heart
last
chain.
week, too.
Yeah, 5 of Hearts. All right, that will do it for us on today's episode. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I'll see you guys later with more Browns news and rumors.